This is Thomas Fahy with the Center for the Divine Will in Tennessee. And today we're going to present our fourth item in a series of insights into the Father's kingdom. The Blessed Trinity chose Luisa Picaretta for this sublime mission of making known the mystery of the Father's will and how the Lord's Prayer is being fulfilled in our time so that we can once again begin to do the will of God as it's done in heaven, as it was in the beginning of the human race. And he chose her for this sublime role. Jesus began to manifest to her little by little the knowledge of the Father's kingdom and how to live in it, as he had done with Adam and Eve in creation in the Garden of Eden, before Adam cut off that beautiful stream of knowledge by doing his own will. Now, Luisa continued from where Adam had broken off, and she would place on paper the sublime mysteries of the divine will that Jesus had written in her soul. First, these writings were written in heaven, in a book called the Book of Heaven. And then Jesus came down to earth mystically, hiddenly, and he wrote the Book of Heaven in Luisa's soul. And then, under obedience to the church, to the confession signed by her bishop, she began to write on paper the things that Jesus was making known to her. And these writings were given the title, as I said before, the Book of Heaven. And it took her 40 years to write these things while she suffered in bed as a victim soul par excellence. And Jesus explained to Luisa that he and she had the mission of forming the kingdom of the divine will, but those who would follow Luisa would have the lesser mission of living in the kingdom that Jesus and Luisa had formed. What was necessary for her in forming the kingdom will not be necessary for those who have the calling only to live in it. And by that I mean, yes, we will want to try to imitate Luisa as much as possible from the way that she administered this life of the divine will, or she carried out this life of the divine will is a better way of saying it, in her soul. But that does not mean that we have to be confined to bed and we have to be victim souls to live this life. That's another calling that God can give to each person as he wishes. Now, Jesus said that living in our will is a gift that God's magnanimity and inextinguishable love wants to give to creatures. God wants it, so all we have to do is really ask for it with sincerity. He added that living in his will is not in the power of the creature, but that it is a gift that he can give to whom he wishes, when he wishes, and then in the times that he wishes. It's not something that we can earn or make ourselves worthy of receiving. But Jesus also says that he does not give this most precious of all gifts except to those who are disposed. And he says that proper disposition is associated with the knowledge of the truths that he has made known in the writings of Luisa, because these truths give the proper sight to the soul and makes the soul capable of understanding him and the gift that he wants to give. The proper sight and understanding matures the soul and opens in her the space for the reception of this marvelous gift of the divine will. On one occasion, Jesus told Luisa that to live in his will is a gift and is the possession of the greatest gift that contains infinite value. It returns the soul to the place established by God in the divine order, and therefore it is not given except to those souls who should not waste it and love it so much, even more than their own lives, esteeming this gift more than life itself. realizing that one's own life is nothing in comparison to this gift of the divine will. Jesus wants to see that the soul truly wants to do his will and never her own will, ready to make any sacrifice to do only his, and that in everything that she does, she is always asking, even on loan, the gift of his divine will. When the soul does everything with the loan of the divine will and lives habitually in this manner, she loses the taste for her own will and her own ego and forms a space within herself where God can place the divine will as his gift. The soul, finding herself in possession of the gift that she has longed for and loves so much, will live by the life of that gift. Her capacity to understand the gift will be expanded, and she will give it the appreciation that is proper to it. Now, talking to Louisa about living in the divine will, Jesus once said, in a word, one does everything all at once, according to my supreme will, which leads the creature rapidly into perfect sanctity, while the other virtues act slowly. And from this we can see that there are many degrees of living in the divine will, and that the reign of the divine will come in continuous advancing stages of glory and perfection. Now we're about to run out of time, but I'm going to add just a few more points here. It'll be a little bit longer than normal. In conclusion from this series that we've given so far, we can say this: we do not have to be perfect to begin this new life of living in the divine will. We can take the first steps at any stage of our spiritual life. Jesus will see to everything as we go along, but we must be faithful and attentive to this mission that he's calling us to. The divine will is a pure gift of God's goodness, which no one can ever deserve or merit. God wants to give this gift infinitely more than we want to receive it. We must be truly disposed and firmly desire and ask for this with constancy as we begin to live this new life of heaven on earth. And we must know that God can and will give this gift, which is the very purpose of creation and the very prime purpose of redemption. The knowledge that Jesus has provided through the life and writings of Louisa will provide the clear vision and the space in our souls for the reception of this greatest of all gifts, which will continuously expand our capacity as we faithfully and attentively make our way along the glorious pathways of our Father's kingdom. So just imagine God's joy and delight in seeing his eternal ideal finally being realized now in our times. I'm Thomas Fahy. God bless you.